you doing, folks? Well, golfing has been cancelled on account of the fairways being waterlogged, or in this instance the interior of this golf is waterlogged, and I don't want to drive it as a result of it. I sat into it today and the steering wheel was covered in mildew, and we can't be having that. It's a little bit less golf and a little bit more water polo for my liking. So yeah, anyway, let's have a look and see what's actually causing it. Every time I've got into this car over the last while, there's been a layer of condensation on the inside of the windscreen, and all the windows actually for that matter, that the demisters are just not going to shift, and I end up having to take a squeegee to it. And it's down to a leak, obviously. The boot floor in this instance is actually waterlogged, and we're going to have a look and see what's causing it. Now, one of the sources of water inside Golfs is this, the scuttle drains. Now, on either side of this scuttle along here, they're down at the very bottom, inside here, is a drain hole. Now, you'll get it on both sides, but what often happens, and particularly if you happen to have trees on your property and they're shedding leaves the whole time, what happens is the drains get clogged up with leaves and the scuttle can't drain properly. And then what happens is you'll find yourself going around the corner and the water that's in the scuttle will slosh over and go in through your blower fan and saturate your feet. And of course it'll go through the heater matrix as well, because it's probably more likely winter than summer this happens, and your windscreen will fog up entirely in an instant. Quite a dangerous situation, and it's one that's easily remedied. Basically you just take out the scuttle cover and you poke out the holes and make sure they're nice and free, and then just clear out any gunge and crap and basically pressure wash inside there and get all of the sludge out of it, because what will happen is that will actually cause corrosion if it's left like that anyway. But in the case of this car, that's not actually what's causing the problem. What's causing the problem in my case is one of the rear light clusters. So let's have a look at that. Now you can see there the level of condensation I'm dealing with here. That's just on the back window, and you know it's not a situation that can be left be. Now if you look down here, you see all that moisture down there. Now I've actually wiped that out with a cloth there a little while ago, but that was all full of water. And simply because of the fact that there's a gasket on the back of the light unit, and the gasket is not sealing properly. So what's happening is water's coming down this channel. It's going down into the light cluster. That's going straight into the inside of the car. And when you have your carpets and everything getting wet, and you look at the boot floor and everything like that, in the short term it's going to cause issues to do with, you know, fogging up and mildew and that. But in the long term, what's going to happen is it's going to rot the car. So we need to address this situation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out that light cluster. As is the case with everything else on Golfs, this is a simple job. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop out the bulb holder first of all. So if you ever wanted to know how to change the bulbs in a Smart 2 Golf, which I'm sure you knew already, to be honest, if you're tackling these kind of jobs, that's how you do it. Okay, so the first thing we need to do now is, once the bulb holder is removed, there is 3 bolts that need to be, or 3 nuts that need to be removed. They're 8mm. So, one here, one over here, just below what would be the brake light bulb. And there's one more at the top, which is just over here. So I'm just using the socket independent of the ratchet because it's just easier to get in at the nut, and I don't need the ratchet to wind them off all the way. So now that is the light cluster undone. So literally all we need to do now is just pull it out from the other side. There we go, so that's the light unit undone. So you'll see there is actually a gasket on the body here. And there is evidence of corrosion here as well, so a certain amount of that needs to be addressed at some point or another, so we're going to have to maybe get that ground back. But for the moment anyway, we can have a look and see where our water is actually getting in. So it's obviously pooling down here, down the bottom. and is getting in at the bottom of the light unit rather than at the top. You can see it's sealed quite well up there. There is a layer of Tech 7 holding that gasket on, but what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put a layer of Tech 7 on the other side of the gasket as well. Now, it's going to make the light cluster a little bit more difficult to remove, but ultimately it fixes our problem. So I would say that's actually where the water's getting in there, look. So that could well be the issue, but the layer is sealant. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. What the f? Now that just doesn't happen every day. Oh my God. Right. Well, let me dispose of that first before we go any further. The poor thing. That was weird. It actually fell out of the sky and hit me. Like there was a load of birds flying over and it just landed on me and bounced off me and landed on the ground beside. It's dead now, but I mean... Anyway, poor thing. Hope it didn't suffer too much. Anyway, back to the task at hand. Incidentally, if anybody is interested in buying any merchandise, please do let me know. Coffee cups can be made available. So, having a cup of coffee, my wonderful wife brought out to me, given the fact that there is a brass monkey over beside my garage there crying his eyes out because it's absolutely freezing. It's always much appreciated. So anyway, I have a tube of sealant, and we will apply said sealant around this area here and get a good splodge of it there. Annoyingly enough though, I was told that this was basically the same as Tech 7. It's feckin' not. It's different altogether. Apart from the fact that it's white instead of black. But I think if I'm tidy enough it won't really matter. So we're not going to go too mad on it because I do want to be able to remove the light unit again at some stage, if for no other reason to take care of that corrosion. Now, owing to the fact that it's particularly cold out and that's all wet, there's no point in trying to apply sealant to a surface that's wet and cold. So what I have is a heat gun here, and I'm going to go around it with the heat gun. It's on a fairly low setting, but it will do the trick. There you go. If you needed any proof on how cold it is, it's starting to snow. Okay, that'll do us. Now let's get sealing, because I'm not staying out here all day. Okay, so that should do the trick now. Pop our light back in. Pour the water out of it first of all. Didn't know there was any water in it, but there you go. Apparently there was. So, and you can see the gasket actually seals along this surface here. So that surface will literally just stick into the gasket along the bottom, and should do a nice enough job of sealing up. Hopefully, anyway. We'll find out in the fullness of time. It certainly can't be any worse than it is. So I'm just going to line it up and make sure the bolts are lined up. Alright, just wipe any excess off there. Now, all we need to do now is just bolt it back up and put the bulb holder back in. Alright, so that's That's that done now. So the 3 bolts are in, sorry, the 3 nuts are on, and just refit our bulb holder. Job, as we said, is a good one. So now the last thing to do is just to make sure that the lights are all working on the back of the car, because that would be a prudent move. What with the fact that I had the bulb holder out. You guys can tell me later in the editing whether or not the brake light's working. I couldn't see it. Okay, so I think we'll call it at that. That hopefully was a success. So the next thing I need to do is I need to use the car for a bit to try and dry it out. So I'm going to bring it into work for the rest of the week, and you know, get the heaters going, and hopefully it'll dry out and there won't be any more evidence of leakage, and I'll actually be able to enjoy driving this car again, because when you get into it and it's all comfort and real too, you don't really want to be driving it, do you? So anyway, look, thanks very much for watching, folks, and I'll see you again in a future video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Talk to you soon.